Good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Kunal. I head the section of histopathology and specialized testing with Fortis Hospital, Bannerghatta Road. So today we'll discuss the intricacies and the nitty-gritties that we look at while we are analyzing prostate needle core biopsies. Generally, when we gross prosthetic core biopsies, what we get are 10 to 14 cores. In an ideal situation, we get about 12 cores, and they are generally either divided on a core basis with one core in each container or two cores per container. But in a relatively normal setting, we get about two boxes with 6 cores in each. That is one of the left side and the other of the right side. Submission is best when it is core specific because more than 2 cores in the same block do increase chances of fragmentation. Now, when we are looking at the prosthetic core biopsies, there are certain things that help us to know whether we are dealing with cancer or not. There are abnormal architectural patterns. Then a very important criteria is absence of basal cells. What we also look at is nuclear atypia with nucleoli. And then there are certain minor characteristics like amphiphilic cytoplasm, blue mucin, crystalloids, apoptosis, mitosis, especially atypical forms, and periacinar retraction. Now, the ISUP, that is the International Society of Uropathology, has changed the criteria for Gleason's patterns over the time. Currently, score 1 and 2 are obsolete. In 3, we have well-formed glands with good lumen. Everything that shows a cribriform architecture has been put in pattern 4. And small solid cylinders and unequivocal comedonecrosis has been put in pattern 5. We have also divided based on various risk groups. That is the Gleason's grade group from 1 to 5. Scores 8, 9, and 10 form the high and the very high risk groups. Now, what we need to look at when we are analyzing the prostatic core biopsies is if we see these convoluted branched glands, we are generally dealing with something which is benign. The moment these glands or these acini, they start looking rounded and they start approximating, we're probably dealing with something which is malignant. But what we need to understand is that in atrophy, we can see crowded and smaller glands, but what will still be maintained is the lobular architecture of the prostatic core. Here on the left, we see pattern 3 and pattern 4, whereas on the right, we see pattern 4 and pattern 5. The second important thing that we need to look at is the presence or absence of basal layer. Now, whenever the basal layer is gone, we are dealing with something which is neoplastic. But this can be tricky. So we usually see it with a cocktail of IHC markers, which includes high molecular weight cytokeratins, P63 or CK5R6, along with Amicar. What we have to be careful about is that the loss of HMWCK or P63 is what signifies cancer, but there are certain tumors which might have them retained, especially the ones which have urothelial or squamous differentiation in them. Also, HMWCK can have abnormal staining patterns, which can be difficult to analyze in atrophy. Nuclear positivity or presence is usually more than 3 microns, which is specific for malignancy. Sometimes the nucleoli cannot be seen. That is when the patient is following an androgen deprivation therapy. Also, we can mistake seminal vesicles, which actually show very, very pleomorphic nuclei at times. There are certain other features like collagenous micronodules, glomerulation, and perineural invasion, which also represent a neoplastic etiology. Here we can see a very beautiful perineural invasion in a case of prostatic carcinoma. A major pitfall is that there are certain benign lesions which can be Amicar positive, that is in adenosis, nephrogenic adenoma, and partial atrophy. We can also have Amicar negative carcinomas, 20% of conventional and many foamy glands or atrophic and pseudohyperplastic etiologies. Now, a very important thing is the difference between 3 plus 4 and 4 plus 3. Why is 3 plus 4 not equal to 4 plus 3? Studies have shown that the percentage of pattern 4 has a major role to play in cases of recurrence. So if we have a Gleason's pattern 4, which is less than 5%, the outcomes are almost comparable to a total score of 6. Whereas a Gleason's pattern of 4 of more than 5%, the surgeon has to be really meticulous because the chances of recurrences are high if we are not very good. Now, a lot of people in the past suggested that poorly formed glands are pattern 4. The truth is not all poorly formed glands are pattern 4. Only when we see more than 10 poorly formed glands, which are not immediately adjacent to well-formed glands, only those are considered to be pattern 4. And among pattern 4, the worst is cribriform architecture, which has the highest risk of PSA biochemical failure. Now coming to the intraductal carcinomas, these can mimic pattern 4. We do not report intraductal carcinomas which are low grade. Only the high grade pins are reported. If they are focal, we need to follow up the patient carefully. In cases of multifocal, we put into account a lot of clinical and lab variables to see when we go for a rebiopsy. And rebiopsy should be done where the focus of high-grade pin was reported. Another thing is an atypical small acinar proliferation. These are very critical to report in your biopsies because the cancer risk in subsequent repeat biopsies increases to up to 40%. The reason for reporting these could be quantitative. We see very few atypical glands. Qualitative, that the architecture is not entirely very malignant or bad, or compounding features such as inflammation. Always remember to correlate your reporting with PSA. We can have raised total PSA but no cancer, like in inflammatory conditions. We can also have cancer but not significantly raised PSA, like in small cell carcinomas and poorly differentiated carcinomas. Here we look at a case where we see most of the acini are like convoluted and branched, but there are a few which are rounded and closely approximated and impinging on a nerve. So this gives you a hint that this might be neoplastic. So we reported this on morphology as suspicious for malignancy. And when we ran our cocktails, we saw that the basal lining was lost. P63 and HMWCK did not reveal it. And Amicar was positive in these acini. So finally, we were dealing with prostatic acinar adenocarcinoma, a Gleason's of 3+4 equal to 7. The percentage of pattern 4 was less than 5%. Grade group was 2. This was involving 2 of 5 cores. Tumor percentage of 30% by volume. Both LVI, so LVI was not seen and PNI was not seen. We did see an impinging on the nerve, but it wasn't exactly infiltrating on it. So there is a role of molecular testing also, which is noted in the prostatic cancer. BRCA1, BRCA2, ATM, and CHEK2, these are associated with aggressive prostatic cancers. And these also have an indication for using PARP inhibitors as they respond very well to these. This is my team of histopathology, and now we are also a center of excellence for digital pathology. And this is our team of uro-oncology in Fortis Hospitals, Bannerghatta. Thank you all for your patient listening.